It is Wednesday, the 17th of September, 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Thank you for all the likes on the previous video. That really helps spread it. Thank you for taking the time to do that. I really appreciate that. All right, let's get to this. A new storm system. This one, a fast-forming storm system this weekend that is going to be making its way in for many of us. And this will have an impact for a lot of us as we work our way not just through the weekend, but into early next week. Now, in this sector here, really anywhere from the Netherlands all the way back through Belgium, we're watching northern France, swinging up to the north, Ireland and the UK. This system has not developed yet, and I mentioned that because it is tricky. I'll let you know what I know and what I don't know. It's tricky to see the eventual track on something when it hasn't even formed yet. There's not a center to this to kind of latch onto to know where this may want to go. So with that, there is uncertainty in the track overall. Some of what I'm seeing in the environment and with the models kind of drive this right up toward the north and northeast, but others just kind of want to stall this out near Wales, England, and back toward France. So the track is uncertain. Hope that makes sense. But with that, as this presses in, we are going to see some gusty winds with this. A fast forming system, and the winds could increase to about 50, 60, 70 miles per hour for some of the gusts. Keeping this in perspective, though, a lot of that will be over the water, right? But we'll see some coastal impacts. So as this develops, we are going to get some gusty winds and then an impactful system as we work our way into next week. Now, here's a look at the big picture. Then I really want to zoom down with the winds, the rain totals. Will cover that. Plus, the tropics are getting active. I'll show you that in a second. But we have a couple storm systems nearby. Here's one as we work our way into tonight, watching out for some of the rain coming out of Romania back toward Ukraine. And then as we work our way into tomorrow, again, starting wide here to give you the setup, you can see this storm system right here. Here's Iceland. We get over toward Ireland, Scotland, and we got a couple little systems here. Norway coastal sections the last 3 to 4 weeks really taking a beating with these systems just driving up toward the north. Then as we work our way into Friday, this is why I mentioned it's a fast forming system. It's not really on the map yet. You see some of the rain here. One system lifts here toward Norway. Here it is right here, and we'll zoom down. You can see how it develops basically right on top of Ireland and the UK as we work our way into Saturday. As it develops, it'll strengthen rather quickly. That's why I don't want anyone caught off guard with some of the winds. They will be quite gusty. So this here is Saturday. Then into Sunday, just kind of wiggles its way and kind of sits in place. So it doesn't necessarily move all the way through. You get a push of some rain, though, ahead of it. So even if this system just stalls out, everything is tied together. There's going to be additional rain and snow, parts of Norway, Sweden, Finland, and then this will enhance the chance of rain, especially northern Spain, watching northern Portugal, but mainly northern Spain, Andorra, watching through France and swinging back towards Switzerland, Germany, Italy for that chance of some rain kind of out ahead of it. That's why I mentioned even as we get into next week, that'll draw some rain and storms across for many of us. Now, here's a closer look, and then I want to show you the winds. So as we work our way into tomorrow, here's one storm system. This one, not super strong, right? Very typical pattern as we watch out for this, kind of lifting up to the north. Some pockets of heavier rain will be possible as we work our way into Thursday night, Friday morning. And you see as we work our way into Friday, some areas of rain. But this storm system lifts to the north. We are watching what's going on down to the south. So here's that storm system as we work our way into Saturday, moving in, and as it moves in, it's going to be developing overhead. That, of course, makes the track and strength a little more uncertain, but I don't want anyone caught off guard as we get into the weekend. By Saturday morning, we could have heavier rain moving in, and then on Sunday lifting to the north. In the center of this would be sitting right here. You see how it develops right on top of us. So we'll see some heavier rain that will be around. The yellows, the orange, the red shadings, that would be some heavier rain, at least the chance of that. And then it may just kind of sit in place. The steering conditions aren't super strong. There's nothing to really necessarily just shoot this to the north or just drive it off toward the east. So it may just kind of get tied into what's going on overall. That means some showery weather left over for some of us as we work into Sunday. And I mentioned out ahead of it, there'll be some bigger storms, and watching, of course, France for additional rain pulling back toward Germany. But watch how this pans out. This here, going through our time frame, let me stop the clock as we work our way into Friday afternoon. So you see this right in here. This is that first storm system, right? Typical for this time of year, that kind of slides in. But what's going on to the south? Look at this. This is by Saturday morning. I showed you some of the rain. The center of this right here doesn't look like a whole lot, but as it sits overhead, it is actually going to start to strengthen. This is by Saturday afternoon. You see a spin right in here, and look at those winds. Those are gusts to about 40 to 50 miles per hour, still favoring the coastline near the water. But as we get into Saturday night, look at some of the red showing up. You see a little bit of red in here. Those could be some gust of 60 to 70 miles per hour. That's why I wanted to give you the heads up about this system. Again, we'll see how it all shakes out. We'll take it with a grain of salt. But with that developing overhead, then as we swing back toward the North Sea, we're going to see some stronger winds as well as we work our way into Sunday. So kind of an unusual system, fast developing, developing overhead, but also packing a punch with some of the winds. If this just continues to pan out like I'm seeing here, that could give us some strong winds in some spots and lend itself to some additional rain. Now, we've got a couple systems nearby. This here is really latching on to the idea of some heavier, bigger rain amounts, right? You could see this white and even black shading in here. That would be 100 to 150 millimeters of rain. Now, with that said, this is a model, so this rain here, maybe it's a little bit more over here, or maybe it's a little bit more down here, but it does show a system developing, and where it goes exactly, that's where we could get some substantial rain as we work our way toward the end of the week into the upcoming weekend. And then we'll eventually see it pressing in. These are 3 to 4 day rain totals. So you can see some of the rain that I mentioned, possible parts of France, Spain, where we need to get some rain in spots. As this all lifts in, this will push out some rain and storms out ahead of it. Italy, we're a little bit drier. Austria, a bit drier as well. Here's some of the leftover rain we've been seeing. Ukraine south, even clipping Bulgaria and sliding off toward the east over toward Russia. And then as we get toward coastal sections of Norway, that's where we have some higher rain amounts. We'll see some snow starting to, especially some of that kind of wet snow sneaking into some locations. We'll monitor that, but the rain totals in some spots not too high, others we're going to get dumped on. Now, we get a look at the tropics getting very active out here. This is the coast of Africa, Europe up here. This spot here is Tropical Depression 7. It may become a named system. We'll wait and see on that, but several blobs out there. And I bring that up because the pattern has been more of an up and around pattern as of late. That may draw stuff eventually up toward Europe, especially Tropical Depression 7 may get close to Bermuda. Early indications are that if it does, that it would work its way back toward the North Atlantic, and it could be a rather powerful system. So giving us the heads up that we need to keep an eye on what's going on in the tropics, especially this time of year, that could eventually bring in some bigger wind makers. So I'll cover that for you as well in depth on this channel. So we have that developing area this weekend. Again, we have some areas nearby right now, but this developing area this weekend, the track uncertain, again, because it hasn't developed, not a lot of steering with it. So as it kind of moves in, it may just sit around and then eventually either fall apart or get tied into another system. But nonetheless, gusty winds, we'll have some coastal issues, coastal overwash, higher seas, and that'll push some extra rain and storms for more of us into early next week, especially across parts of Western Europe, and keeping a very close eye on now on the tropical Atlantic. So thank you for being part of this channel. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for sharing this with your friends, family. Have a good rest of your day.